So in this morning's reading, we have that familiar story that Jesus tells of being asked by the religious leaders of the day what to do with the personal tax imposed upon an occupied Israel. There's no right answer. Jesus was going to lose either way. To say, yes, you must pay this tax is to give allegiance to Rome, the occupying force. To say no would be to incite rebellion. Jesus, of course, swipes that whole thing to one side and says, well, that's just what you've got to do. That's just the levy that's on you as a responsible citizen, as a person who needs to do what the organisation around you wants you to do. But that's not where your allegiance lies. That's not where you put your mark. The face of Caesar is on the coin, so give that back to Caesar. But you yourself bear the mark of God. You are God's child. You are a person who was made and belongs to God. And so that's to whom you give your allegiance. And that's so important for all people of faith, because to meet with the living God has to make a difference to the way we live our lives, to the mark we show to the world. People need to look at us and say, well, what is that mark that the person has? And it is to have God's love, God's joy, God's peace, and God's assurance so evident in our words and actions that people can see the sort of person that we are. And that's what's called from us. Jesus very cleverly makes that central point, which is so timeless for all of us. A word of celebration, a word of liberation, a word of good news for the world. Because to be entrusted with God's great good love, with all the gifts that God gives, demands a response and is something to be shared with the world, evidenced by joy and love and peace and kindness